Is it one?
Yes.
It's one! Woo! Time to start! Who's excited? Wow, this is too energetic for you, right? Alright, welcome, happy Saturday to all of you. Lots of happy, excited faces here. I'm super excited to be here today with all of you as well. So for the next couple of hours, we're going to spend a lovely afternoon together. Just having a reflective afternoon, asking Yoks all about this amazing book that she has written and photographed and gifted to us. And what else? We're going to laugh, maybe cry, I'm not sure. Yeah, so please be really present. Okay, before we start, I would like all of us to do a simple exercise. Because she mentioned in the book that breath, okay, I'm very woo-woo. Breath is one of the primal things in life, right? So we need to breathe in order to live, right? So I want all of us to just take 3 cleansing breaths together. Okay, deep breath in, and then we exhale and empty the lungs, and then we do it 3 times. Okay, and then the last time I want it to be really unforced and very natural. Okay, and then we do it together. Ready? Can I follow instructions? Know how to breathe, right? Okay, ready? At the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Inhale. Exhale. Empty the lungs out. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Make it count. Inhale. Unforced. Exhale. Wow, we did the first exercise together. Yay! Okay, so I always like to start all my talks and interviews and everything with 3 cleansing breaths because that's the best way to sync everybody in the room. So instead of syncing time, we're syncing breaths. Woohoo! Julay!
Julay!
Okay, can I ask how many of you have actually read the book already? Advanced copies, right? So those of you have the book, have you read it?
Yes.
Do you love it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so those of you who have read the book, you will know what Julay means, right?
Yes.
So what does it mean?
Everything.
Everything in the world, right? Hello, how are you? Okay? Julay! Yes.
Julay.
Okay.
Everyone?
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Nervous,
See,
huh?
I'm holding the mic with 2 hands. That means
We got red wine, we got water, we got coffee here, we got everything. Okay, so thanks for having me. My name is Daniel, and I self-volunteered to be the host today. And there are a lot of volunteers here today as well because we all love Yoks and we all love what she has done for the world. And it's with this very excited feeling that I'm here today to share the goodness of this book. So I want to start off with a heavy-duty question. Okay, which is you said that gratitude, right, is a big thing for you, right? Gratitude is accepting all versions of ourselves, right? And I think that's beautiful. And my question to you is, what is the version who is showing up today? Wow, Jim, got more to come,
it's a mixture of just peace, but my hands are shaking, so that means I'm nervous. And just really excited and very touched that all of you are here with me today. Yeah, so with that, I know that Saturdays are very precious for people living in Singapore. So I'm very thankful and really grateful that you chose this afternoon to be here with me and everybody else in this room, and I'm truly grateful for that. Whether you are going to just hang out for a while or you stay throughout the 3 hours, I hope that you spend this time also connecting with the person that you brought with you. So today is a Bring Your Friend event, right? So I hope that I can connect with you, at least chat about what's going on, things like that. But other than that, I hope you also spend time connecting with the person that you brought. And I think the word community was a word that kept appearing during my 10 months away. Based on the time that I spent living with the locals. So observing their sense of community, and also with the bond that I formed with all the travelers when I was on the road. And eventually, the word community brought me back home. So originally, my travels was planned out to be 2 to 3 years, but about this March or April, I decided to come home in May, and the word that kept coming up to my head was community, and I was hoping to return home to build my own community. Yeah, so I'm really happy that all of you are here today and to just form that authentic connection that I wrote about in my book, which is committing time, energy, presence, and openness. So I hope with your friend that you brought today, you have that openness in your conversation with him or her about the themes that we may be talking today.
Thank you. So, you know, we live in a very noisy, saturated world right now, right? So we have everything that we ever want, right? Everything is just a Google click away. So, you know, in this noisy world, the two most precious commodities are what? Time and your presence and attention. So thank you guys for showing up today for Yokes and for yourself. Okay, so wow, this book, okay. The first thing I did when I got this book was, guess what? What did I do with the book? No, look at all the notes. I'm the type A overachiever kind, I can tell, right? No, the first thing I did when Yokes passed me the book downstairs, actually we met here, was to just smell it. I inhale, I'm a bookworm, so I love books, and I inhaled the book and I said, oh my god, this smells so nourishing. That was the word I used. It smells so nourishing. So who agrees that this book is a very nourishing book? It's like an oasis, right? It feels so calming, so loving, so energizing, right? So this is 真的是满满的爱, it's full of love. Okay, so this book, right? I'm having goosebumps now on my right arm. This book, right? Like, I wanted to ask you, okay? Do you remember the exact moment when you decided that you wanted to write a book?
Okay, so no. So on that note, right?
Okay, thank you. Next question.
On that note, I actually want to thank I have a lot of people to thank in creating this book, and you can find it at the end. Mm-hmm. It's a whole village of people, but I don't have time to mention all of them. Okay. But I just want to take this time to really acknowledge and thank these 3 people who really helped to make this book become this book. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the first person I want to thank is Cui Qing.
Identify yourself, okay. Wow.
So I remember it was the first few days of January this year. I was in Samarkand, Uzbekistan, and I did a Skype call with her, and I was like, hey Cui, so you know we've been talking about my experiences in the mountains, and I feel like I really want to write something. And then 她的第一个 response 就是 OK 来我们做
Wow!
And then 我就做什么？
做干啊！做干 OK？
来啦，做啦！你的照片很美，你写的字很好，一定可以的，我们做。So 我们就做咯。
When was it March?
No, January this year.
Oh, January. Okay.
Yeah. So with her unconditional belief in me, sometimes you just need to have that one person to believe in you. And it really gives you that courage to pursue something that you're so afraid of. So with that affirmation, I immediately then call up this other friend, who is the next person I really want to thank. And her name is Magdalene Ong. She's the one...
Where? One more applause.
So I told her, hey, she's my orange sister. If y'all don't know what is orange sister, you know many years ago there's an apple and orange video. Hey orange, hey apple, hey orange, hey apple.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know. Oh, you can go YouTube. Anyway, she's a brilliant writer, and I feel so safe showing her my work. And I was like, hey, I want to write something. Do you think you can help be the editor through this process? And without any hesitation, she's like, of course I will do anything for you.
Awesome.
And she stayed with me through the 4 months of intense writing. I did most of the writing in Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan from January to March, and it was a very, very harsh, bitter winter, both literally and metaphorically as I was writing this. So originally 我们是 plan 说这个是一个 photo magazine because 我要那个重点 to be about the photos and with some simple captions. But then I felt like I don't know, I really cannot explain. This is very woo-woo. There was a force much greater than me, just channeling through me, and all the words just came out.
Right.
I've never written like that my whole life. In fact, I'm quite scared of writing growing up. Yeah. So 忽然间写就 by April, May, when I put everything together, and then Cui Ting introduced me to her friend, who is the third person I really want to thank, and she's singing.
Where?
Oh
Oh my gosh, this is the layout of the design.
Yes. So singing is the brilliant mind behind the design and the layout of this book.
Very gorgeous.
And when she put everything together, I was like, 诶，这个是 magazine 咩？有点像书嘞。
很厚的 magazine.
Can I still call it magazine? So eventually we decided to call it a photo journal book because it is a cross between a photo book and it is also a journal. My most private thoughts are inside, both in visual and written form. So 就这样子，忽然间变成一本书，然后忽然间我就发现，this is a self-publication. So the process was so organic.
Right.
We did everything on our own. Well, mainly with Cui Ting and Xingying's help.
Right.
And we found a printer, we sent it to print, and then things just happened, and suddenly we are here.
Yes.
It's August. I left last August, so it's 1 year ago.
Wow. So the whole process took from August to August, 1 year. I've always been journaling when I started the journey. Without the intention of having it.
Yes, I've
published.
never ever wanted to publish anything when I first started the journey because I didn't even know where this journey was going to bring me to.
Okay.
Yeah. So the writing, so the decision happened in Jan.
Jan.
The writing started in Jan.
Right.
And I finished by about May-ish.
Right.
And May to July was the very intense publication process.
Right. So actually you were already creating the book without yourself knowing, right?
Yes.
All the photographing and the writing of the journal entries, right? But then the intention to actually just put it together in the tangible format was in January this year.
Yeah.
And thank you to all the amazing friends behind.
Yes,
thank you so much for manifesting this thing. Yeah.
So let's thank some more people.
Of course, this is your party, okay? You can cry. If you want, you can do anything.
It's been 12 minutes, I haven't cried yet. I want to thank these, okay, 这个会哭的, okay. I want to thank these following people who really grounded me when I was away.
It's my party and I cry if I want to.
Okay,
加油!
I want to thank Wati, Esther, Lance, LITO, Julay and Ivy. I also want to thank my brother. For looking out for me when I was away. And some parts of the trip was very scary. I had, as you would read in the book, I had a lot of anxiety-provoking moments. And they were there to ground me. Yeah, so I want to thank them. And then I also want to, okay, since we are in the spirit of thanking, right? Can I just thank these, so other than all those people that I mentioned who are helping today, to make today happen, I also just want to thank Jianxing, Shaina, Ho Ling, Tim, Khalid and Kelvin, and also to make this event happen. And I want to thank Xueling for sponsoring the Light Bites. And I want to thank China for sponsoring the alcoholic beverages. And I also want to thank the Moon for letting us use this very, very gorgeous space. Is this, who's first time here? Yeah, isn't this place so beautiful? Yeah, you can hold workshops here if you are keen on doing whatever work that you're doing. I want to thank the Moon for letting us have this gorgeous space, and giving us 10% off for all good guests for the drinks. Okay, so I think we'll see one. Yes. Okay, next question.
Okay, so sorry, I'm also still languishing in that CMO. Okay, the original intention behind your travel, right? It was supposed to be an experiment. Did you have a hypothesis before you embarked on the experiment? And what were the findings of this experiment? It's basically the whole book, right?
Yeah, the findings of the whole book.
Yeah, but what was there a hypothesis in the beginning before you embarked on the journey?
No, actually I kept it really open because this is not the first time I travel solo, but it is the first time I did it for so long, at least long for me lah. Yeah, to see. So I kept it really open. I just wanted to see what will happen to my mood, my behavior, my relationships with people, both on the road and back home, as I go away for so long. Yeah. So I just kept it really happen, and whatever happens, happens long. So I was actually really surprised with some of the responses that I saw myself having when I met with certain situations, because it has never happened in my 10 years of solo travel. And even until now, I still think about why I experienced those changes in my mood and my behaviors. And yeah, I'm still reflecting until this day. Yeah, it's also other than an experiment, it was also an opportunity to just rest after working for 9 years as a social worker dealing with child abuse and family violence. So I think it was really an opportunity for me to let go of all that stress and trauma that I was holding inside me. And maybe that's why it came out so strongly that they did, that I wrote about in the book.
So this journey was actually very cathartic in a way, right? In releasing and healing.
Yes.
Was there any reason why you chose to go to the Himalayas?
Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Ladakh for I've waited 7 years. So about 9-10 years ago, I went to Tibet, and it threw me off. I fell in love with Tibet and that entire region. And my dear friend Julay told me, hey, if you really love Tibet, you have to go to Ladakh. It is this magical place in North India that is just as beautiful, if not even more beautiful than Tibet. So 它一直都在我的 radar 里面 and 我等了很多年，我去了很多其他地方，都没有机会 go to India. And so finally the time came when I was finishing up my work in my previous organization. I had time off. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make this trip a really long one. So I decided to go to the Himalayas. And after that, so my whole 10 months was not just spent in the Himalayas. After that, I went to do the Silk Road, mainly in Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan, which is in itself another big, amazing story to tell. Yeah, but I didn't want to put it in there. Then the end of the 10 months, I was in North America. So the highlight of the trip was going to the Yukon all by myself, yeah, in the wilderness.
So you basically spent a lot of time with and by yourself, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm so used to talking to myself right now.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a lot of juicy questions for you because I'm very into the woo as well. But anyway, before that, let's go to the 重点 first, okay? What are the core messages that you want to spread to the world through this book?
Trust and abundance. So I learned that it is so important to trust yourself whenever you are facing any major decisions in your life or small decisions in your life and you are doubting whether or not that's the right thing to do. Trust your body, trust your mind, trust your instinct. Don't let other people make you question yourself otherwise. Yeah. And the other one is abundance. So when I was in the mountains, I don't know, I was doing a trek around a very sacred lake, And all I did was I was looking at the mountains, and suddenly I felt a wave of, like a whole rush of energy through me. And it was telling me that, hey, you know, you can love. There's a lot of love in you. And what you gotta do is open your heart. And I felt like for a long time, I have not been doing that. And perhaps I didn't feel safe enough to do that. But in the mountains, I felt so safe. And I saw it in the people living there.
不要哭。
加油，加油！
No， 应该哭，因为那个眼泪。
加油，哭多一点，加油！
What was I saying?
You felt very safe in the mountains.
Yeah.
Like you're very safe with us, right? You feel very safe, right?
Yes.
We're not. Yeah. Okay.
So 就在那边，忽然间觉得，actually, I can give, and I don't have to expect anything in return. And I feel like here living in the city, everything is, or rather almost everything is transactional. The other day I was just having a conversation with my social worker friends, and we were talking about even in the field of social work, where you feel like, oh, it's a helping profession, people do things for other people, it is actually also very transactional and very territorial. So I don't know why. I've been thinking like, is it the difference between living in the mountains and living in the city? But in the mountains, it just feels so natural to give and to give and to give and not expecting. And it's really unconditional, not expecting anything in return. Yeah. So I also learned that there's a lot of love that you can give to yourself. And I feel like I've been denying myself of that for a very long time.
So those are your core
So
messages.
trust and abundance.
Yeah, I love that it's actually, even just listening to you explain to us how you feel, I think it's very layered, and I think a lot of things are just enmeshed together, right? Like the trust and ability to love requires you to be vulnerable and open up as well.
Yes.
And that also gave you to be able to love without thinking about getting anything back in a transactional form. It requires you to think about giving unconditional love. And when you give yourself out like this, it is from a space of abundance.
Yes.
So you already have everything that you want so that you can give so unconditionally,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this abundance is not something that you get after you give love to someone,
No,
but it's as you give. And even before you give, you need to assume and breathe and live and have this abundance. So
And as you give, you find the abundance just keeps coming up from within you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So love grows more love, right? Yeah.
It sounds very cliche, huh? I used to think that, wow, this word love very cliche, like, 这在讲什么东西? So in the mountains, I felt it like
Yes.
very strongly. I can't really explain.
Right. I guess a lot of the simple truths, right, in life, they are cliche, but then it's very different levels of understanding, right? If you understand it intellectually, it is very cliche. But in the mountains, when you understood the same thing that you used to understand intellectually, but now it's in your bones and you really feel the full impact of it, then that's actually very complex. It's not simple. It's still the simple truth, but it's so powerful. And I think that sometimes in life, we go around seeking for things that are very complex to kind of explain the predicament that we are in. But at the end of the day, these are the simple truths that will explain everything. And it just stems from love, right? Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to share this.
And the mountains love you so much.
Yes. So I think love is like that, right? It's reciprocal, right?
Yeah.
The love is not. I think love is like you first. If you want to feel love, guess who is feeling the love? Love is not in something you receive. Love is something that you do and you feel the moment you give love to somebody else, right? So love is in every single decision that you make every day, the big and small. When you love that way, the mountains or the people and the world will love you back immediately. And even if they don't give you back and reciprocate the love in a very tangible way, you are already feeling the love because you're the one who's giving the love, right? Yeah, so thank you so much. I wanted to share this passage. For those of you who have the book, it's once... 哎呀，死了，老花 already. 154. Okay. Those of you who don't have the book, please buy the book later. Got special discount today.
He laughed at your jokes.
Yeah, my jokes are, is it reciprocal? Yeah, so I highlighted this bit, right? This is where it says thank you, Mr. Dana, that page. Yeah, Mr. Dana, so cute. Sandwiched by the mountains. Okay, and then you wrote, right? I learned that the mountains have no qualms with adaptation. And they pay no attention to criticism or judgment. They simply continue to evolve. They simply continue to become. We can all use a lesson in that, right? So this is about how you were talking about this trusting your own intuition, trusting your own self, right? And not being too bothered about other people's opinion. I like to call it OPO, and other people's criticisms. And I think that is actually very, very strong in Singapore, right? About how society deem we should live our lives, right?
I don't know, we should ask the audience.
Yeah, do y'all feel that Singapore is actually very demanding that way, that we live life in a very cookie cutter way? Yeah. Anybody feels like you are a rebel? You want to rebel but you don't know how? This guy look at me, yeah. I give you TLC, yeah, so this brings me on to the next question, which is the environment versus me, right? The environment. So I think that, as you've mentioned, right, it was quite different being in the mountains, and there's this connection, and it's very natural, right? It's almost like we remember what is true at the deepest part of us, right? The core. But when we're in Singapore, it's a totally different world, right? So the environment can support or not support this kind of very deep internal true work. So my question to you is, now that you have been away for so long and you have come back, how does it feel? Yeah.
It feels very, very different. I felt it within the first month when I came back. And I could feel the pressure of living in a very dense, crowded city again. I could feel the pressure of, are you going to get a job? Oh, you're not having a steady income now. How can you know? And I also feel I'm beginning to feel the distrust towards myself even creeping in, and it's been a process of trying really hard to continue to practice what was so easy and what came so naturally in the mountains, which is why, again, I think the idea of community came back to mind. I wanted to form a community that I felt safe with, that I can continue to feel vulnerable, to give, to trust, and to grow. Yeah. So I'm still trying. It's still a process. It's definitely not easy. I could feel like my meanness and my unkindness like coming out when I'm having certain conversations with certain people, and I catch myself like, hey, 为什么你这样子? Yeah, yeah, like 想一想当时在山上的时候。
Aren't you glad you actually wrote a book for yourself?
Yeah, so
now you can refer to it.
Yes.
When you forget the lessons.
So actually, one of my key intention of writing this book is a reminder to myself that, hey, the Yokwen in 2018 wrote this, and she felt this, and you were once this, and you can still continue to be this, and you can still continue to practice this. Because we also keep changing, right, as time passes.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a daily practice.
Yes, it is a daily practice, right? So the work doesn't ever end, right? You know, as you're sharing, as I was reading your this MacBook Pro, a magazine and a book, MacBook Pro, and okay, please entertain me, yeah? Okay, then I was looking at the photos and stuff, right? Of course, I see a lot of mountains, but what jumps out at me is the weather conditions and the clouds and stuff, right? And it reminds me that all these things are transient, they shall pass, but it all is ever morphing, ever changing. And the work is never done. The realization and the lessons may be there, but we might not be able to live them all the time. And that's why we need a reminder, like a Bible like this, a book that we can go back to all the time. And it's not even a very very dense book where we have to pull through all the text. You can just flip to any page and see what resonates. And it anchors. I think it's got this very anchoring magnetic field. It just pulls me in. So I was just having a conversation with some of the people, and I was like, hey, do you have an advanced copy like I did, huh? And then I said, yes, I also, huh? Then I said, hey, how long you took to read, huh? And then she said, I took a bit longer, 2 weeks, huh? And I said, I only took 22 hours, huh? Okay, it is. So it is not a competition, but I just want to share a little bit about how I felt when I was reading the book. I was in Bangkok. I brought this book with me and I gave myself some peace and quiet. And I sat down and I cracked open the book. And it was really a page turner. You guys really have to get this book. And I don't think there's any other book out there that I'm a bookworm, okay? So I have a voracious appetite of books. But this is the first time I really read cover to cover, and as I was reading the book, I was really like touching, caressing, smelling, inhaling, and I was doing all sorts of things to the book, and yes, no, I mean, look at how beautiful and gorgeous this book is. I was like, whoever a designer is, the one hiding in the it is beautiful, and I am very, very critical because I'm a designer and creative myself. And I mean, this is just a beautiful book, not just the content, but just inside and out, right? Like, if you want to judge, if you ever want to judge a book by its cover, this is the book. But it's not just about the cover, okay? And I mean, look at the threads, like the threading and everything, right? It's just beautiful and it's flat lay. Okay, so enough
about the thread. Can I just say something?
Yes.
Threads. Sorry. Can we just ask the audience to just shift a little bit forward?
Oh.
Because there are people still streaming in.
Okay, please move forward. Thank you so much.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
You can sit at the sofa here.
So it's very comfortable. I tried the seat just now. It's very comfortable. Also, can sit here if you want.
Yeah, come, can sit right.
We won't bite. Yeah, we won't bite. We will only cry, huh? Yeah, so you wanted to talk about the thread that runs through it.
Yeah, so when Singing came up with a few design proposal and suggestion, and she's like, okay, we can potentially do an exposed binding.
Yes.
And I didn't even know what is exposed binding until I did this.
Exposed because very vulnerable, yeah?
Yeah, oh wow.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I saw the thread, I was like, 我要红线，我死都要红线。
对。
Because there's this folklore about red threads. I mean red threads connecting people.
Yes.
With the thread of fate.
Yes.
I was also wearing a red thread for a whole month when I did my yoga teacher training in India. So just having red thread means something important to me, and I wanted, underlying this is to connect with the people, the landscapes, and the stories that I encountered across space and time with the thread.
Yeah. It's beautiful. So that's why all these little, intricate details, it really makes the book, yeah? The threads. Hello.
People made it upstairs.
Wow, these are the VIP seats, right? Hello. Yeah, royalty, yeah? Hello. Okay, so next question. Can I have a time check? Where are we at now? Because I don't have a watch. 1:30. Okay, we still have 45 minutes, and we need to do some sharing. Okay, wait. My question is, which is your favorite chapter in this book? Do you have one? Would you like to read some excerpts to us?
Oh, 来了。
Page 几
My favorite chapter is definitely the mirror that is the Himalayas.
Okay, 不是。You can tell I'm a fan of the book.
Okay, 我要先讲
sorry, page 几
this chapter starts at
Wow, your fan? Who? Who is that? Wow, another fan, 113. Oh, okay. Very smart. 113. The mirror that is the Himalayas.
Yes. So I just want to share that this chapter was the first bulk of the writing that I did. I started with this, and it was also the hardest chapter to write because I was forced to first realize that the mountains are actually mirrors to who I am at my core, and then second, having to realize that I was forced to look into this mirror, which means I had to really look at myself, and I did a lot of questioning like why 为什么你会这样子？为什么你会这样子？然后所以就很难写，因为不只要写脑海里的感想 ，so the thoughts in your head， but 也要写 the feelings that I felt in my throat that I couldn't get out. I had to write about, say, the anxiety that's left that you can see on my fingernails. Pain in my right shoulders. So sensations, emotions, and thoughts, they were all jumbled up. And it was very hard to piece apart and to really find out what was in the core of all these things happening at the superficial level, like things that you can observe. So I had to relook at some of the key relationships that I had when I was growing up as well. So that was difficult. So I'm gonna read these two things. Page 138. Okay, 给我喝一点水先。
Fear versus love, yeah?
Yes. Oh, on that note，我忘记 thank LITO 哎。
啊，等一下，你可以等一下 thank 我啦。
等一下。
等一下，等一下7点。
我要 thank， 因为我在写这个 part 的时候，我一直在想 the episode that you and Rebecca did, and you all also talked about fear and love. And when I heard your episode, I was like, 哇，原来有其他人也在想我在想的东西。So it reaffirmed me to keep writing, because when I first write it, I was like, who the hell will read this kind of shit? Okay, so 谁给你们两个？Okay, so this here goes. Having spent time in the Himalayas, I learned that there are two basic primal driving forces. Fear, the instinct to avoid, resist, and reject, and love, the instinct to approach, give, and receive. Mother Nature has her own ways of teaching us lessons to overcome our primal, ancient fears. Love. I felt her love simply by retracing my steps back to her. She taught me love can be as simple as retracing my steps back to myself. We forget, but love is just as primal as fear. Sometimes it is buried deep inside somewhere else. Sometimes we mask it out of fear. Ironic as it may sound, in the harshest of environments, the Himalayas dug deep and uncovered my innermost fears and insecurities. Yet, at the same time, she provided the safest space for me to be vulnerable and muster the courage to heal. I learned that when you return to Mother Nature and give yourself time in her cradle, you will find the space to heal. You will find the answers to your doubts and the energy to open your heart and create again. To give yourself a chance to try again at the curveballs that life throws at you. When your heart is truly open, abundance is all around and within you. It will not hurt to love, to give, to share. This I learned straight from the mountain folk who embodied the spirit of love. They expected nothing in return. That has always been the gift from the Himalayas to the people living in her cradle, loved over thousands of years. Over the 4 short months that I spent in their company, that was what I received, love. I learned that to thrive at solo traveling, I have to learn to trust. I learned that to live a life filled with bliss, I have to learn to trust. Trust the people I hold close, as well as the total strangers I meet on my path. Most importantly, I have to trust myself. Trust myself that I can keep myself safe, that I can discern between what is good and not good for me, that I can adapt to the environment that I am in. I learned that for every darker side of ourselves, manifested by fear, that we will reveal to ourselves and others from time to time, we will always find another side of us that is full of light. Light in the shade of love, compassion, and weightlessness. As a social worker, I used to tell everyone I work with that it takes a village to raise a child. As adults, we still need that village of support. Having a community, perhaps even several, that we can rely on and be vulnerable with keeps us going, growing, and nourished. I learned that it is okay to reach out and say, I don't know, I need support, to the community we have grown to lean into. I learned what gratitude looks like. To the next page. Gratitude is accepting the different versions of me that showed up every day, being kinder, gentler to myself, to all of me. The Himalayas may express herself in the form of ferocious winds, slashing rain, or blanketed blizzards, but she also brought me peace and contentment. She taught me that peace is there whenever I return to noticing my breath. Breath is just as primal as love and fear. My breath keeps me alive, centered, and well. When the winds of anxiety began their momentum, I remained grounded with my breath. Even in the presence of deafening winds, a grounded breath made it seem like a gentle breeze. I learned that what may be easy to practice in the mountains can be dauntingly difficult to bring home. It is easier for isolation and distrust to creep into our lives in the concrete jungle. It is easier to react with anger when we are stabbed with fear and our focus distracted by noise. Sometimes we continue to carry the anger inside us for a long time, as if it is a shield that can protect us. Allow your anger to drift away with each exhale. Let the passing wind carry it instead, the mountains whispered. Yet, it takes tremendous courage to respond with kindness. It takes equal measure of equanimity not to be consumed by anger. It was a challenge that the Himalayas threw at me, a parting gift of love.
Yeah, I highlighted so much of it. And I think this just encapsulates your little cool. Okay, so unpacking this chapter, right? Talking about mirrors. I think there are a lot of us who are out there and we don't assume responsibility for everything that has happened in our life, and we like to blame it on the world, we blame it on external circumstances, we blame it on other people. And this is very akin to someone looking into the mirror, not liking the reflection, but blaming the mirror. But I think that the mountains you really need the courage to face yourself when it's just you and you alone, right? And in your book, you were talking about how you spend your days, like doing nothing, right? It's actually very scary if you spend all the time with yourself and you don't have the mental hygiene or the emotional hygiene. And I think the Himalayas allowed you to have that space. It might be uncomfortable and scary at times, but eventually you have no choice but to confront the reflection in the mirror. So, also you were talking about trust right here. I learned that it is okay to reach out and say, I don't know, I need support. So I think asking for help is an expression in your belief in love, right? And to be able to trust, I think we need to bring a lot of vulnerability and courage to be able to fall apart, struggle in front of people and feel that it's okay and not be judged, right? And that you can do the same for me and I can give you the same, that we don't judge one another. So I think here is where most of us trip up. I think we are very good at helping other people and we are very ready to help people, but when we need help, we don't ask for help. I think that's why it's so troubling and so lonely for so many people. And I think this is a fault and error in thinking, because how can we think that it is okay to help people but not be helped? It means that subconsciously we are assigning a value to helping people and another value to being helped. it means that we are coming from a stronger position to help someone. And subconsciously, we're thinking to be helped is in a weaker position. But I want to encourage and offer this possibility and option to all of you here, which is trust is bilateral. In order to love and trust, we need to also be able to ask for help. Yeah. So that's what I took away from this passage.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, sorry, 很多 reflection 真的很多 reflection.
来，你可以继续 share 你的
Also, the breath is a primal part of love and fear, right? It's as primal as that. That's why we started off with the breathing exercise. And I think that one of the tools that I teach my clients is this concept called Shenpa. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is exactly what you've written here.
Really?
About releasing lots of negative energies, be it anger or disappointment or hatred. It is to really just breathe through your emotions. Whatever negative emotions you're feeling and is troubling you, the only way is through it. And you have to ventilate and breathe through the emotion. So thank you for sharing that. So I see I put down breathe very bigly. You see, I put down breathe. So very, very powerful. Like, I don't know how you can be fearful of writing. I mean, you write so beautifully.
Oh, I used to be really fearful of writing.
I want to talk about that next. Okay, so you said that you were frightful about writing, right?
Yeah.
So then the reason why then you are able to write is because of this energy that came from the Himalayas. It's like it's wanting to be birthed, right? This book.
Yes.
So
I really can't explain it, but yeah, that was what it was. I wrote day and night. And I've never experienced that before.
Do you feel like you were like a medium and a vessel? Do you feel like that?
哎，你把它变成一个恐怖片。
这是恐怖小说 ，OK？
But yeah, to some extent, yes, it was like that. There were days where I just stayed in my Airbnb or my hostel. I didn't talk to anybody at all. I didn't even go out to buy food. I just stayed in the room and I just wrote and wrote and wrote. And the snow was falling outside. It was very, very cold. So metaphorically, sometimes it also felt like a lonely process, just writing all these things out. But yeah, I needed that space to be able to write all this out. Otherwise, I think they will still be stuck inside me somewhere. And sometime down the road, they will come out in other forms. Yeah.
Okay, I think that this was meant to happen, right? And like when I was reading the book, I've never felt a book that was so energetically charged before. Like, yes, it's like it's just waiting to be consumed and inhaled, and like it's asking to like I want to nourish someone out there. Like who needs this book, right? So it looks like it's just very calm and everything, right? But then when you crack open it, it just strikes you to the core in very plain, simple words. You know, like I've been wanting to birth a book like forever, but it's not birthed yet, you know. But you made it seem so easy. Like it must be the Himalayas, right? It must be the energy, right? Very woohoo, right? And it must be because the energy must be so strong so that it overcomes that fear that you have about writing, right? So the fear was still there, right, when you wrote?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, I struggled very long, like how much detail should I write and who will be reading this and am I okay with people reading this?
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt really happy and that I had Meg on look at my stuff and she's like, people are going to love this.
Yes.
Somebody will enjoy what you read and will resonate.
And very touched.
Yeah. So with that, I decided to continue to write. Otherwise, I will just like throw it away. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, right? What's the time check now? Sorry, no. Half an hour left, huh?
20 minutes left.
30.
20.
Oh no, I got so many questions. We need a podcast episode. We'll get you on the show.
She's so happy.
Hi, listen to my podcast, are very nourishing. Also a lot of crying, man. Okay, I have two questions, okay? How has the trip changed you? And then the second part of the question is, how has writing about the trip changed you?
Okay, the first question I think is probably mentioned in the book.
So by the book. Okay, next question.
Now it has changed me. Essentially light. I feel really light now. And I can feel the bounce in my steps. I can feel the lightness when I talk to people and in myself as well. And space. I feel like I have a lot of space now to create things again, to love people again, and to show them that love is very possible in the city as well.
Okay. Would you like to go through some of your favorite photos with us?
Oh, Mr. Ajas is definitely one of my favorites.
Oh! I also have. I put a heart next to it. Look
at this hottie over here.
I put a heart. See? Hey, got heart.
I believe you're talking, huh?
Hey, he's very smoldering like you like. And I don't know whether I can believe you or not, but you said that he did this and then he fell asleep.
Yeah, so he didn't pose for the photo at all. We were just doing a day track. We had our lunch and he's like, okay, now let's see.
I know what you had for that lunch.
Hard And then he just started lying like this. He's like getting ready to nap. And I was like, Ajas, you look so beautiful. You stop. I want to take a photo of you. So I quickly took out my camera. I quickly adjust, compose, and then I took the shot. And then 他就睡着了. 他就 close his eyes and just sleep. And he's just so comfortable and so in his element in nature, you know. And I love that. And I just love spending the afternoon with him like this, doing nothing.
Yes,
and
doing nothing.
There was nobody around us at all, and he's a guy. Yet I felt so safe with him. Yeah, such a sweet boy. This connection that we had in the day track that I did with him. When I first wrote it, I put it out on Facebook, and everybody was like, "Wow, hot guy!" Beautiful story. What happened to the two of you? You know, happening and after whatever shit lah. But then I was like, hey, a connection doesn't always have to be romantic.
Yes.
Especially between a guy and a girl.
Yes.
It can be full of love, but it doesn't have to be romantic.
It can be a soul connection.
Yes, and that's what I felt with him.
Yes.
And we didn't even talk much because he cannot speak much English. So just 我看你，你看我, and then just enjoy the nature, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing to do, nowhere to go.
Yes.
Take that hand says that. Yeah. Is this the only photo you like? Or Ajas? That's the only photo of him, right?
No, there are more photos of him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but not.
It's like find Ajas, like find Wally. Where's Wally? Where's Ajas?
Is she being private? What? She being private? Own consumption.
Yeah, own consumption. The other photo that is my favorite is this one.
Yes.
It's also the photo over there, available for pre-orders. I really love this because there's a story to tell behind this roll of film. So the entire book, the photographs are all taken with expired films. And that was my key intention. I didn't know what will happen to the photographs and I wanted to experiment with that. And so this roll of film, I first shot it when I was living in Michigan about 6-7 years ago. I shot it in my living room. It was just a darkened space with heart bouquet. So I shot like fairy lights and I used some technique to get it to look like hearts. And then I just put that film aside and I forgot about it for many years. And then when I was going on the trip, I just swept like a whole bunch of films and then I started shooting. And when this came out, I was like, wow, I didn't even know that this film can survive. Because usually they will just turn into nothing recognizable lah. And a lot of my roles actually turn out unrecognizable. So these are, the photos that you see in the book are just some of the few that survived. But when they survive, you realize how beautiful they can be. So that tells you about life as well, you know.
Life is not like a box of chocolates, but...
And it's a box of expired films. Hey, you texting me what I know, is it?
Yeah, type A, overachiever student, okay?
So yeah, that's one of my favorite photos.
Lovely, yeah, I love that one as well. And I love the fact that you use expired rolls of film. and then the results are like something that you can't fathom until you see it, and you go like, whoa. Yeah. So the prints are available for
Pre-orders.
pre-orders.
Yeah. And we can have it framed or not framed.
I wanted to ask you, you must have had a lot of photos, right? Was it very difficult to decide what photos went into this book? How many did you have to discard?
Hundreds.
Hundreds.
But it wasn't so hard to decide. It was quite intuitive.
Okay. So where can we go to enjoy the other photos that didn't make it into the book?
I will slowly put up on my Instagram and my website.
Awesome. So your Instagram is at?
Free peanut. Free_peanut.
Why, huh?
Okay, it's not 免费 the peanut, okay? It's not like the peanut is free like sale. But yeah, the peanut is free from the shell that it used to come from.
So you are the peanut?
Of course.
Ah, okay.
不是免费的 peanut, okay?
Okay, we are running out of time, so I wanted to get some friends to come and share their thoughts about having. Or can ask questions. Huh? So which one do you prefer? You are the
Okay,
boss.
share first.
Share, huh?
Invite sharing now.
Okay, who do you want to arrow?
Who would like to?
Who would like to share the 感想 after having read the book? Like you really want to share, like, and tell people why they should get this book and why this book is so amazing. Anyone? Anyone? 一声，两声，无人啊哎。Where's the community? The community doesn't exist.
Okay, then
No one, huh?
I want to start both.
Yes, I'm all. Yay! Woo! Please come up here. Yay! One round of applause, please. We have 10 minutes left, right?
Yes, we can continue to stream forward.
Please continue to shift forward. We have got more guests. Hello, Wati, right? Hello, Wati. Everyone say hello, Wati. Yes, hello, Wati. Hello. Admiring you. Okay. Anyway, please tell us, when you got the book, how you felt when you got the book, how you felt when you read it. Yeah.
Okay, I think there were a lot of different thoughts that was actually running through my mind and also my heart when I was reading this book. I think I got it about a few weeks ago. Yeah, and actually I found that this book is really very interesting. You know how both of you shared, staying in the city, you can feel very overwhelmed. Sometimes in the rush, you feel really very unkind. So I think at that point in time, that was really how I was feeling. And I think all the energies and all the words that were coming out from my mouth was actually pretty unkind. And I was really very bothered. I think if some of you who do yin yoga and also you slow down, there's a lot of slowness that was not taking into effect. I was not being very mindful. But when I catch myself not being mindful and being me, then I became very unhappy in myself. So it's like a spiral. So actually, I was going to read out the book, which is that actually I realized Luke has read about the parting words of love, about really being kind and leaning into yourself and coming back to yourself. But I think the other reason why I think you should buy the book is because I find that it's almost like a band-aid when you're having a very bad day, and that band-aid actually will provide you with enough support as you then lean into your community again. So I think that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Wati. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Anybody else feels very compelled to share? No one? Okay, which means you got the arrow on another person.
Okay, I'm going to start both JX.
JX. Yay, JX. How many of you haven't read the book? Show of hands. Okay, raise up your hands, raise up your hands. Okay, do you all intend to buy a copy later?
What? This is stress.
I ask this kind of questions, that's why I'm the host, because you're going to ask this kind of questions. I ask, I be the bad cop. Okay, hello Jax.
Hello.
Hi. So tell us all about the book, right? Yeah. Okay, tell us some parts of it. Like, what was the biggest takeaway from the book?
So, but to be honest, this reading of this book in particular, different from other books I usually read. It's a very personal experience, so I'm a bit shy to share like that. But I feel sabo. So, but I'll just share a bit with you guys. So I'm an engineer by training. My mind is freaking structured. Like I need to pay attention to everything and like rationalize and logicalize everything. So throughout this book, the first 2 chapters, wow, my brain was exploding. She didn't put it in chronological order. Disclaimer for whoever picks up the book and happens to have such a structured mind like mine. I think what Luke is trying to say, kids say I didn't mind my language, to help with the concept of time, right? The way to read this book, as I resolved myself after 2 chapters, back and forth. She said, do you people hand maps? I think got 2 versions of maps somewhere. So yeah, the idea is just take it for the lessons and the little golden nuggets in there. Yeah, and you gotta be patient with it. It's a very personal reading, I feel. And her golden nuggets are like really like just randomly hidden, like in the most random of like places. Like sometimes she'll just be describing like what's going on, then suddenly there's a golden nugget appear. Then very funny book. It's really not the type that endings I need to read. So that's that lah. And the other part of the book that really stood out to me, which I think I just want to leave you guys with, is the part like it says it's so simple that it gets hard. That was one part that really resonated with me when I traveled alone for quite a while as well. I don't want to share it here. I think you all should explore it yourself.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, engineer. So I realized that the book can be like a workbook for you also. If you're very structured, when you read the book, you'll be like, so that's training ground. So I think the chapter that she mentioned was the beauty in a life lived simply. Some days were so simple, it was hard. Let that sink in. Some days were so simple, it was hard. Oh my god. Yeah, so we gave away a lot of spoilers today, but you still have to read the book. I think what's so elegant about the book is that it's very accessible. Even though the thing that we talk about today, like I said, it's simple, but also doesn't mean it's easy, right? That's why some days were so simple, it was hard. So simple doesn't mean easy, yeah? So the whole book is going to be very easy to read, but to let the concept sink into you and let the ease bring out whatever deep, I cannot swear here, fill in the blanks in you, let that do the work. I think that the book has this magical power in it, okay? So I cannot recommend this book enough. For those of you who think that you don't like to read books, this is the book for you. For those of you who think that you love to read books, this is the book for you. For those of you who don't like a lot of text, a lot of pictures, this is the book for you. For those of you who like to judge a book by its cover, this is the book for you. For those of you who don't think that covers are that important, but you want the content and the meat, right, and the value and must have 重点, this is the book for you. Okay, talking about sales, I don't believe in like selling a bad product. The only reason why I'm able to do this is because I really, really think this is an awesome product. I really believe in it. It is so nice and so nourishing. Thank you so much, Yokes. I've got a few parting questions, then we can wrap up, yeah? Or do you want to ask?
Yeah, I wonder if anyone
okay. Okay, any questions? Maybe you can ask the questions. Any burning questions that you have that I didn't cover? Doesn't have to be big question, it can be very small.
Yeah, it can be very random.
Yeah, very random. Yes.
So you said that you mentioned that the things that you wrote just came out of you. I was just wondering whether you kind of thought about a theme that you wanted to focus on, or the content just evolved along the way.
The content just came out like this. I didn't plan. We're talking about structuring the writing.
We already know there's no structure, yeah?
Yeah, there's no structure and there's no plan. I just reflected and reflected. And as I was reflecting these themes, there are 6 key themes in this, running across this book. And the themes just came out during my reflections. And they're all interconnected to each other. That's why I found it very hard to write it chronologically, because it keeps happening again and again and again. So I eventually decided to do the chapters in highlighting a certain theme. Yeah.
So it was very instinct.
Super instinctive. The whole thing was super organic.
Yeah. I think the whole process of from the writing to the birthing and getting everybody together up to this point where you got everybody in the room, it's just very natural, right?
Yes.
This is a sign that this is meant to happen one. Okay, it's meant that you have to buy a book later, yeah? Very natural one. Later you all walk around and zombie, you all naturally will gravitate to the passion. Then you come down, oh my god, the Himalayas. Okay, is that force, don't fight it. Okay? Any other questions? Burning questions? That was a great one. Thank you so much. Any other questions about the process, about how she's feeling today? Anybody wants to be a writer but hasn't written the book yet but want to know how you can write the book? You go Himalayas, yeah? You go to where it scares you, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, lean into the fear. Don't run away from it.
Where it pushes you out of your absolute comfort zone.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, question.
What's going to happen after today?
Yes! That was my wrapping up question also. What's going to happen today?
I'll go and chill, so for the book, there's an intention to translate it into Mandarin.
Woohoo!
I have an old friend who's one of the smartest and one of the most talented people I know, Grace, and she's hoping to translate this into traditional Mandarin. And we're hoping to bring it to Taiwan. So that's one of the plans for the book. Yeah.
Please do it, please do it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, then 你过去那边帮我 post 吗？
我中文也可以的了，我是bilingual的。
我的中文不可以。
没有啦，你中文很好 ，OK。
So are you also asking
For yourself.
Yeah.
for myself? I want to stay in Singapore for the next few years. I know that I will do long-term travel again when the opportunity arrives. But for now, my heart knows that I want to be here for the next few years, and my key interest will be in children, yoga, and trauma. So I'll be doing different things that mean, across these 3 areas. On that note, I want to share something. So for today, all the sales that is happening, whether you are purchasing a copy of the book or you are pre-ordering a photo print, 10% of the sales will go to my friend Shina's new after-school care center called Hopscotch.
What does hopscotch do?
Okay, Hopscotch is looking at a very revolutionary, different way of approaching after-school care, where they strongly believe in holistic growth, aside from just academics. Okay, so if you want to know more about Shina and what she's hoping to achieve with Hopscotch, please go have a conversation.
Shina, put up your hands so people know where you are. Stand up.
To set up her after-school care program and center. So 10% of today's sales will go into that. And we're hoping to reach out to the vulnerable children in the Bedok community.
It works because the kid very holistic laughed at my joke just now. So it works. Please send your kids back to China, okay?
Yeah, she's modeling with her own family.
Yeah. Okay.
So else?
And then the price for today's book is also special, right?
Yes, so it's going at 45 today. The full retail price will be more extended, so today is a special price.
Yes. And then the print is pre-order, yeah?
Yes, pre-order. For the books, I just want to take this opportunity to also really thank Books Actually and also HOM Yoga Studio, who have agreed to carry some of my books. So if you are keen, you can also go to the studio or go to the bookstore to get it after today.
And people who are interested in buying bulk, like is there a bulk discount?
Email me.
Oh, okay. Wholesaler, anybody want to wholesale? Very choke, limited edition, okay. My last question to you is, any other questions? Anything?
You buy 4 or more today, get 15%.
Oh yes, if you buy 4 copies or more, you get a 15% discount.
Hurry up, later going to be
Thanks
so
for
hurry.
reminding, Rachel.
Yes, thanks Rachel.
Hashtag responsible cashier.
Last question is how can we best support you? What can we do for you? Okay. I want to a bit of coaching from me. In my talks, I always end with this slide, which is for every conversation that you go into the world, every conversation that you can have with a stranger, a friend, a loved one, a potential business partner or potential client, the question that you always lead with is, what can I do for you? That's always the question. Not, can we work together if I can get more out of you than you get out of me? That is transactional. So I think that is one of the core messages from Yog's book, which is the kind of unconditional kindness and love that we can have for one another is, what can I do for you? So I want to wrap this all up by asking the question, which is, you have written this book for us, for the world. What can we, the people in this room, the community, do for you?
I think first and foremost, I hope that you can continue I hope that our connection can continue. So I hope to really be able to spend time to get to know you a little bit better. I also hope that you will, after reading the book, practice sharing that authentic connection with somebody you treasure and you care a lot for. And lastly, of course, 帮我留点钱吃饭. So if you know anyone who may enjoy this book, 帮忙 promote 一下 so that I can have some money to eat.
Yes. Okay. You want to end off with a poem reading, right?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I want to end off with a poem. And this poem was introduced to me by my very amazing and lovely teacher, Daphne. Daphne, can you say hi?
Hi.
I recently went to Daphne's embodiment and bodywork immersion, and it was quite life-changing on another level. I connected with myself inside out. But if you are quite curious about what on earth is embodiment and bodywork, go and chat with Daphne after this. So I'm also hoping that people can make connections with each other here.
China. Daphne, can you put up your hand? So because you're in blue and
you stand up and show people how
a lot of people in that color today.
Don't shine.
Yay! Please look for Daphne, if you're interested.
You get keener to know more about embodiment. Okay, so this poem is called Maybe Not by Dana Falls. Begin somewhere. Take one deep breath and dive. Plunge into the core of your most persistent fear, or your greatest joy. Grow comfortable with the act of exploration. Well, maybe not comfortable, but confident of your ability to be sure-footed on slick rocks. Steady while the winds gust. Well, maybe not entirely confident, but willing to set out despite persistent doubts, breathing your way into whatever you're facing. Well, maybe not even all that willing, but you take it anyway. That first step into the unknown. Courage is starting where there is no secure outcome, no sure result. The secret is you can begin again at any time. Take one deep breath and dive. Thank you very much,
Guys, I always love to find out how a book ends, okay? And y'all must be Lao Hua from there, right? Cannot see, right? You find out for yourself. Go and buy the book. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you so much. There are food and drinks. Please feel free to mingle. Come up to yours. And autographing, right? Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. We want to take a photo, like a wee right? Right? Except with a proper camera. With yokes in front and everybody in the background. Those with the books, please hold up the books high and proud and lovingly. Those without the books, you can just smile. Okay? Squeeze, squeeze. Try and squeeze to the middle, please. Okay, look at the camera lovingly, okay? So much love, you almost cracked the camera. Alright, everybody. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait, say Julay. 1, 2, 3. Julay! Awesome. Yay! Thank you, everyone.
Smile.